Good afternoon. It is raining again, and it is August the 13th. And I just came out anyway in the rain, and I'm standing in it right now, and I just don't care. I am really frustrated with this rain. It's ruined quite a few of my figs. I've salvaged what I can. But today I just wanted to speak a little bit about something that I spoke about earlier in the spring. I did take a little video of Golden Rainbow, which was once named Golden Riverside, Ben's Golden Riverside, Ben of Seattle. And that's a long story that some of you may or may not be familiar with. And I spoke about that in the spring, and I have a little video that I will release in the future about the comparison between Golden Rainbow, or what once was Golden Riverside, Ben's Golden Riverside, and Yellow Longneck. And I acquired this tree, which is Ben's Golden Rainbow, or Golden, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused myself now, Golden Riverside, 2 years ago. And you can see it's a magnificent specimen. It really is. It's a beautiful tree. And it's only 2 years old, 2 full seasons. And it came from a very reputable nursery, from a very reputable person who owns that reputable nursery, and he got it directly from Ben. So there is absolutely no question that this is Golden Riverside, Ben's Golden Riverside, now Golden Rainbow. There's no question. I have made several videos, and I've talked about the unique characteristics of this specimen, this variety, and how it is exactly the same as Yellow Longneck, in my opinion. But I wanted to make sure. I wrote several articles on different fig forums, and I made several videos, and I made another video in the spring to show you a spring comparison, because there's another characteristic I want to show you that's similar, not similar, exactly the same between these two varieties. The growth pattern and the new growth and what it looks like, it's very unique. And so I have that video, and I'll release it in the future, but it's really not that necessary. I wanted to wait until the fruits were actually ripening on these two separate varieties, which I think is the same variety. And I would say now, even though I mentioned this more than a year ago, and I deliberately requested this variety because I suspected that it was the same from the photographs I had seen on videos, the same as Yellow Longneck. I wanted to wait until I was 100% sure, at least for whatever it's worth, in my opinion, that I'm 100% certain that they were the same indeed, and they are. I see no difference whatsoever. I've tasted them. I see that their characteristics. I'm going to show you Yellow Longneck in a second. I just wanted to point out a few things. Look at the size of these figs. Look how large they are. They're very large. Here again, this is Golden Rainbow, Ben's Golden Riverside. I know it's confusing, but look how large. And this is a feature, okay, that is shared with Yellow Longneck. Yellow Longneck has also very large fruit. They're shaped exactly the same. They taste exactly the same. You see this little extension here? Let me try to show you some of them. See this little extension here? If you can see that, you have a little stem, and then it starts to open up, and you can see a characteristic that's unique to both of these varieties because they are the same variety. Now, I have not seen a single feature or characteristic in Golden Riverside which differs it from Yellow Longneck. Look at here's another characteristic. Look at the size of this leaf. Look at this. Look how gigantic. Now I show this in the spring. I show you even a better comparison in the spring with these huge leaves and early in the spring. Look how large this leaf is. And look at the pattern of the leaf. Look at the shape of the leaf. And I'm going to show you when I go over to the yellow longneck, which I have planted in the ground. I'm going to show you, which is also fruiting simultaneously with this one, which has been in a pot all summer, from early spring, from last year. I mean, it's just been in a pot, that's all. And it's been outside of the greenhouse. It's where I keep it because it's just too big to go back in there. And I like to keep them in the yellow sun, as I've said often. But you see how big this, it's just a beautiful plant. It's a vigorous grower. They share that trait. There is no question that they share that trait of incredible vigor. Notable vigor. Look at the large leaf again. You see how big it is. Look at the fruit. Look at the stems of this plant, of the figs. Look at the stem. Look closely. You see that little extension right here? You see that? Again, the size of the fruit. Look at that. It tastes the same. It is the same inside. It is the same. The leaves are the same. The pattern of the leaves, the size, everything. The way it grows, look how it grows. The scaffolding of the tree, look at it. It's exactly identical to the yellow longneck. And so why do I tell you this? Well, common sense. I think you know why. I bought, well, let's take a little walk. Let's take a walk now to the yellow longneck, which I have planted in a grow bag in the ground since early spring. Let's just take a walk. Rain, rain. Oh, it just never stops. It's aggravating. Oh, wow, look at this. I just saw something. Oh, wow, look at this. See? The rain. Look at that. Here's Hollier. Oh, that's a nice ripe fig. I'm going to be eating that if it doesn't spoil, but it won't taste very good because it will be waterlogged. I made another video about what I do when I get waterlogged figs like this to enhance their flavor, and I'm going to release that very soon. You might find it interesting. Now, I don't want to confuse this video any more than this subject is already confused already. But this is a Golden Riverside, which is not the same Golden Riverside as the one in question here that we're talking about, Ben of Seattle's Golden Riverside. Okay? This is not a variety as good. It does split. It splits more than the others. It doesn't, it's not the same. It's a different, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And you can see that it's a very good producer. But this is UC Davis. And I'll talk about it another time. I've already talked about it before. I have a video, Figs That Wow You, where I explain a little, in a little more detail about this variety. And it had a Breba when I made that video, and the Breba was one of the best tasting figs I've ever eaten in my entire life, and I mean that. But why grow a variety for one Breba, or for even a few Breba, you know? Now, if it was a San Pedro type, it made a lot of Breba, then that would make sense, like Dessert King or something like that, or what my uncle called Feliciano. But it is not. It has a main crop, which is the main crop. Most of the figs that you will get on this variety are main crop figs, and they are subject and prone to splitting, and they are tasty when you let them really ripen, but they're not as tasty as yellow longneck, I don't think. And as far as that goes, I really do like, I'm going to say this, here we go, neck on the chopping block. There's that, here comes that often caveat. For what it's worth, I like Peter's Honey all around much better than I do any of them. And that includes Golden Rainbow or your Golden Riverside, which are the same tree, and Yellow Longneck, which is the same, and I'm stating that it is the same. That's my opinion, okay? And that's what I'm going to show you. But as far as I'm concerned, there are other honey figs that are better than that fig, at least in this zone, at least in the northeast. Somewhere else, well, that's up to them to say and up to you to decide. But let's just take a walk through my fig garden here, and we're going to go over to the yellow longneck. Now let's view it from a distance. There's the yellow longneck. See the scaffolding on it. See the characteristic pattern of its growth. You can see that simultaneously the figs are also ripening at the same time. You can see that they are the same size. Look how big they are. They're huge. You can look at the stems. The stems have that extension. I'm sorry with all the water here. I hope it's not getting all over the lens, but you can see the extensions. Here's another one getting ripe over here simultaneously. Okay, you can see the extensions. You can see those stems, that characteristic. Look at the stem. You see that characteristic there? Look at them. You can see it. Okay? There's another one getting ripe here. And you can see that stem there. All right? As far as the size of the leaves, look at this big leaf. This one's been beaten up by the wind. But look at the shape. You can see that the shape of this fig leaf, you can see it. Let me get back so that you can see it, because I can barely see in the lens. And it's raining and there's water all over the front side of the lens. But you can see how huge this leaf is, and it's the exact same shape. There is no difference in the shape. Here's more big leaves, look. More of the same pattern, more of the same shape. Do you see it? The figs are the same. They're ripening at the same exact time, simultaneously, even though one's in a pot. They're ripening at the same time. The same pattern of growth. The tree is the same. The flavor is the same. The inside is the same. The taste is the same. It is the same. Golden Riverside, or now Golden Rainbow, is yellow longneck. Here's another big leaf with a perfect shape. Look at that. It's the perfect shape that you can see Golden Riverside. Look at that. Once again, I will reiterate that the other that I showed you first, up against the greenhouse, was purchased by an extremely reputable, someone I trust emphatically, nursery, owner of that nursery, and I trust him 100%, 100%. And I know for an absolute fact that he got his Golden Riverside directly from Ben of Seattle. So there is no mistaken identity here. These are, there's no question. One is yellow longneck, that's this, which I have a long history with, which I explained in other videos. And I absolutely know that what this variety is. It's yellow longneck. And I've been growing it successfully. And the other was purchased from an extremely reputable source. Okay? So that's all I can tell you. They are the same. Now, the reason why I'm telling you, and I'll reiterate that, the reason why, oh my, the reason why is because I paid $20 for this. I paid $20 for my yellow longneck. Okay, let me repeat that. I paid $20 for my yellow longneck. I paid much more for my Golden Riverside because I wanted to compare them for you. Not so much for me, but for you. And I did it. And if I were going to purchase Golden Riverside today, if I wanted that in my collection, it's a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. I would buy yellow longneck for $20 or $30 or whatever you can get it for. I wouldn't pay hundreds of dollars for the same variety by any other name. I don't want to get into Shakespeare now. What is in thy name? Doth not a rose smell as sweet by any other name? Well, it sure does. Doesn't a fig taste the same? Who cares what you call it? Are the characteristics or the traits the same? Is it the same fig? Look at it. It is. I'd rather pay $20. Wouldn't you? So, I'm standing out in the rain. Maybe that is a point that would persuade you to think that I'm all wet, perhaps, even on my analysis of these two varieties. But I can assure you, I've been doing this a long time. And I promise you, as far as I can determine, and I have given it my all. I have given it, I've waited 2 years to finally state that I am 100%, me personally, I'm 100% positive that yellow longneck and Golden Riverside, now Golden Rainbow, are the same exact fig variety. So I hope that you found this helpful, and I really do appreciate your visit. It helped me today to get out here and stand in the rain because I'm just so, I've been so unfortunate the last few weeks. It's just been ever since the hurricane came through on, I believe it was August the 4th, and now it's the August 13th today. It's just been one shower, one rainstorm, big rainstorms. I mean, 2 inches, 3 inches, one after another. And I'm genuinely sick of it. It's a fig grower's worst nightmare, actually, to put in all that work. Fortunately, I do have figs in different locations, and I have some tucked away in the greenhouse now to try to keep them out of the rain. And I've got my trees staggered, which I mentioned before is always a good technique to use. To stagger your figs so that you don't have all big figs or all little figs, have a bunch of figs in different stages in between and at different points of fruition, so that when you do run into bad weather like this, it only affects a few of your trees that are now producing, but you will have plenty before and plenty later, and I have had. So one should be appreciative, and I am. I am truly appreciative. So there it is again, the same fig variety as I've just shown you. This is the Golden Riverside, and I just showed you the, right over there, you see it, the yellow longneck. Let me shrink this up or things will get real jittery. I think I got it all down there, okay. And I'll be eating these. You know, I just want to tell you another shared characteristic of these two varieties, which are the same, is that once these start to yellow like this, once they start to swell and ripen, and I mentioned this in one of my other videos recently, and how it is different than, say, Ron de Bordeaux, which only takes 3 days, sometimes 4 days to go from swelling to, you know, fully ripe, which is a wonderful characteristic. This variety does not share that characteristic with Ron de Bordeaux. It does not. Once these start to swell up, and here's that big leaf again, remember? You can compare it in this video. Just compare them. You see that? But this variety, once it begins to swell, it takes a long time for the figs to actually get to their peak perfection. And you can pick them, you know, in 6-7 days or something like that, and they're really good. But the key with this variety is to really, really hunker down and wait. Wait until you know it's as ripe as it can get, and then pick it. And it does have a very delicious, exquisite taste, and I like it. But overall, and this is my opinion, and I hope it's worth listening to, Let me phrase it that way for you. Overall, Peter's honey is far more productive, and it has breba, lots of breba. You can see my videos about Peter's honey, and I go on and on and on about it. I think it's a very undervalued and underrated fig because a lot of people, quite frankly, aren't growing it the way it should be grown in the ground, and they're just not really familiar with it. But it's been around, and it's withstood, the growers' trials, all of the trials and tribulations, for many, many, many decades. And it's still being offered by nurseries around the country. And there's a reason for that, because they get a lot of positive feedback by the people that actually do attempt to grow it or grow it in the ground, which is its best, I think, potential. I've mentioned about Peter's honey as a honey fig. It is not a good fig to grow in containers. My personal opinion, I don't like the taste. It doesn't compare to it growing in the ground. A lot of varieties do taste really good in pots, maybe not as good in the ground, but it's acceptable. As far as I'm concerned, with Peter's honey, I don't like the, I know the difference because I've grown so many thousands of these figs in a 27-year period in several locations. I know the taste. I know the exquisite taste, and it is an exquisite taste. And I know that Peter's honey tastes much better in the ground than it does in containers. Okay? This variety, okay, the Golden Riverside, tastes okay in a container. It's not the same as Peter's honey. It's good in a container, and you need to grow it in a container because it's later than Peter's honey. I mean, it's August the 13th today. That's not bad. You can grow this in a container, and I would recommend that you grow it in a container. But if you're in 7A or 7B, you can grow Peter's honey right in the ground. And if you really need to, you can grow it in a container. But if you had to grow Peter's honey in a container, I would rather go with Golden Riverside or Yellow Longneck because it tastes much better in a container than does Peter's honey. So I've told you as much as I can tell you. I furnished you with as much information as I possibly can in all earnest. And so I hope that you would consider it. And thank you for your visit. I'm soaking wet, and I don't care. Good day.